Hey guys, it's VW Chris, and today I'm doing a video on my personal 2013 Volkswagen Touareg TDI. And I'm here today to do a quick review on why I personally think this is one of the best cars you can buy in today's market. So you might think, well, if you're doing a review on your own car, you're probably going to be pretty biased. And while that might be true, I really bought this car after a lot of debate, a lot of research, and a lot of time spent into looking at something that will do everything for me. And when I say everything, I mean taking the family out, bringing some friends along on an adventure, road trips, towing, and just overall fuel economy and reliability. So I've got the 2013, I think it's a sport model here in the US, Touareg. It's fitted with the 8-speed ZF automatic transmission and the V6 3-litre TDI engine. Really the only factory options I think I have was the tow hitch as well as a sunroof, and otherwise it's just about stock. I think another reason I want to do this video is because when I was looking for a Touareg, there wasn't a whole lot out there explaining what the car is, what it does, how well does it do, what you're looking for it to do. And, I think I'd like to try and spread the word as best possible, because truly I have owned so many cars, mostly Volkswagen and Audis, and I have to say that this is probably the best car I own. And I say the best car I own, it's not the fastest, it's not the most luxurious, it's not the most expensive car that you could go out and buy today. But I think for looking for the best car that is an all-rounder on a budget, you really can't find a better car. Some people may debate the BMW X5 is quite similar, but I think that is still a little bit more expensive, especially in terms of maintenance, and you're paying for that BMW badge. And as well as you also have the Q7 Audi, which is exactly the same car underneath, which is still a great car, but personally, I find them a little dated looking. So as an overall all-rounder, this is probably the best car that I own. Hey, real quick, if you haven't subscribed yet, please hit the subscribe button down below. It helps me a ton. Thank you so much for watching. So I guess let's start with a quick walk around of the whole car, and I'll explain my modifications, what I like and maybe what I dislike with the car. So here she is. This is my 2013 Touareg TDI. Now the 2013 comes with the Gen 2 3-litre TDI engine, which is quite a robust engine. So this engine started in 2013. The Gen 1 motor looks just about the same and goes just about the same. However, there are a couple little updates, including with the turbocharger, which gives this engine a little bit more torque, a little bit more go. This does have factory an AdBlue system, as well as a DPF, a CAT, and that's about all the emissions. Oh, and an EGR, of course, in terms of emissions. But this engine is quite bulletproof. Now, I have 173,000 miles on this beast. That is all original, all totally pretty much stock. I'll go through again what mods I've done on this car, but this vehicle has been fantastic to me. I've kept up with all the maintenance. So when I first bought this at 140 something thousand miles, I did my air filter. I do need to maybe look at possibly addressing the oil filter housing here, which is a common issue. I do also need to replace the valve cover gaskets. They are leaking, and at the same time I will be replacing my injector seals, which can be a problem. I've seen more so on overseas vehicles and less in the US. That's on the engine department. The ECU is tuned with TVS engineering. It also has a transmission tune with TVS engineering, and this just bumps up the horsepower and torque by roughly 30%. The shifts are a little bit firmer now, and the shift points are just slightly more geared away from emissions and more into just nicer daily drivability. There also is a little bit of light exhaust work. That's about as far as I'll go with that online. But that is a common issue with these cars, is the DPFs do eventually clog up and sort of wear out on these vehicles. That is probably just one thing to look at down the line, is if you're in some sort of emission area, a DPF could be a likely replacement or fix in your future long term with this car. So I'm going to be upfront and apologize for just how dirty my interior is, but I think for a 2013 vehicle, this car is way ahead of its time. We have a lovely sort of split analog and digital dash here. Tells you just about everything you need to know. We've got a great Bluetooth system here, and one mod I did add was this car phone holder from ProClip USA. I did also go ahead and install a set of Focal speakers, because the factory speakers are sort of leave you lusting a little bit more better sound quality. But really, you have just about everything you need right at your fingertips. We have a great climate control system right here. We have heated seats. One thing I would really love out of this car is if I did have the cooled seats, which that option is right there. And it wasn't by choice, but I got the wood grain and silver trim going on here. So that's, each their own. We do have the on-road and off-road switch. This purely just allows for better descent control when you're in off-road mode. On-road, just works as usual. A traction control button and no diff locks on this model here. So it's purely just an traction control off and an off-road and on-road switch, which really is all you need if you're taking this off-road. Personally, these are some of the comfiest seats I've sat in. They have great adjustment, lumbar control. They are fully electric, driver and passenger side, and I've taken this car on many, many, many long road trips without a sore back. Coming to the back seat, I do apologize for a lot of mess, but there's enough room for me, and I'm nearly 6'2", and you can sit 3 passengers in the back. The whole fit and finish on this car is really, really nice. We've got soft plastics pretty much throughout, front and rear of the vehicle. Even little things that are important to me, just the buttons, how soft they are. They don't feel clicky or plasticky. You've got soft close handles at the top here. Super nice, just little features that we've got there. And then we've also got the automatic tailgate, which is super handy when you're doing some grocery shopping. And it's as simple as just a click and the gate goes up. Again, apologize for the mess in the car because I do use it. Now, the car of this age, some things do start to wear away. So I've got a little bit of wear showing here. Some things are busted here. This sort of hider attachment does typically bump up while I'm driving. So if this is sort of held out, and then it does exactly that and goes to the top and sort of blocks your view as you're driving along. So it's probably one little pet peeve with this car. But if you keep it like that, you don't have any issues. So as mentioned, I have nearly 173,000 miles and the car and suspension is in fantastic shape. One other thing I really, really like is just how user-friendly this dash is, this cluster. Now, don't mind, I do have an engine light on. I know what it is and it's tuning related, so don't stress out too much there. And I do have a little bit of a low tire there. So what's nice is that this car is built in with TPMS, but everything is super easy and clear to use. We've got a really nice sort of vehicle status thing here. Check our tire pressures. And then we have our displays, miles per hour, date and time, time traveled, yada, yada, yada. And yeah, really everything that you would need to know. You do also have access to audio, you have access to telephone, and then you have your vehicle settings right here. as well as navigation, which is really, really nice. Everything's built in quite well here from the factory. The climate control system is also super easy to use, and has been problem free for me. Heated seats work. Everything is in great shape, especially for the mileage. So I really have zero complaints about this car, other than the speakers from the factory, which were kind of sucked. Yeah, I just have my phone holder here, which again is from Pro Clips, and that just helps a whole lot while driving and keeps you safe on the road. So let's take it for a quick drive. So just cruising through here, the car is absolutely beautiful. The 8-speed trans is probably one of the best features of this car. It puts you in the right gear at just about all times. Let's do a quick little pull just to show how this car goes. So as you can see, plenty of grunt when you need it. Cruising at 40 miles an hour here, and to 60 you get there quite quickly with just a simple ECU tune. Another thing I really like about this car is just how quiet it is while you're driving. It has just beautiful road noise control, a great amount of insulation, and yeah, I really cannot complain. Just cruising along in this car. It's nice and quiet, plenty of power, and of course, great fuel economy. So you might have seen this video and now you want to buy a Touareg TDI, or even just a Touareg in general. What are some of the things I need to watch out for when purchasing a Touareg? First and foremost, service history. You want to check that your car that you're looking at, no matter the mileage, has had a good service history. You know, frequent oil changes, and see where those oil changes were at. Were they at the dealership? Were they just at a, you know, quick 5-minute oil lube place? Was it done at a specialist's? These are things that you'd like to try and check for documentation. You also want to check the upper control arms. It is a really common issue in a lot of other countries. Somehow on this vehicle they look like the original control arms and suspension, and I have zero issues, but it is one thing to note and check. Another thing is the brakes. They can be a little bit costly, especially if you're paying someone else to install them. So you want to check that the brakes have good life on them. A pre-purchase inspection is recommended, and alongside brakes is tires. Not that these really chew through tires like crazy, but a mixture of poor suspension, bad alignment, and service, you know, you will find that the tires will wear significantly quicker than, say, your run-of-the-mill car. I also went through and serviced my transmission, all of my differentials and transfer cases on this vehicle. It's one thing a lot of people do tend to forget, so you just want to make sure that that has been kept on top of, especially if the car has a few more miles. The only things I've replaced on this car is the brakes, the tires, full major service, so that includes brake fluid flush, all the fluids, air filter, cabin filter, etc. I did replace an indicator bulb in the headlight. That does require a genuine bulb. Funny enough, you do have to replace an entire wire and bulb. It isn't just your regular bulb you can buy at the parts store. I did also have to replace a rear wheel speed sensor. Don't know how it went bad, but I think it is part of the reason why I got this car so cheap. It was sold very quickly and you know, no issues and all that kind of thing. And I got the car for quite a good price. And then about 3 hours into my drive home, bought the car from North Carolina, I believe. About 3 hours in, I had a Christmas tree of lights on my dash and the wheel speed sensor was bad. So that required just pulling off the brakes to access that. And it really wasn't too bad of a job or too expensive a job. The other thing to check out for is, especially on TDI models, is your emission systems. Things like the AdBlue, the sensors and pumps for them go bad. The DPFs can block up on these. I said mine only just went bad at around 170,000 miles, and I did address that issue. The EGR coolers do leak. The valve cover gaskets do leak. A really big one on these is the upper oil pan and rear main seal. It's kind of a given that the TDIs will just leak, including this one, and you really just have to vary just how much leakage you're okay with. I've actually found though, by using higher quality oil like Liqui Moly, that the leaking has slowed down a lot. I don't find the car really dropping as much oil anymore. I use 5W40 with Ceratec additive, and really I've had no issues. There have been some instances with people with timing chain issues. I have really high mileage and a slight little bit of rattle when I start mine in a cold morning, but nothing that's of concern. And I believe Volkswagen actually say within I think a 3-second window of rattle is considered normal. So take that into mind when you start the car. If you're looking at one and it rattles, can be slightly normal. But other than that, I really haven't had to do a lot to this car. You know, it isn't the most perfect or pristine example, but for me, it has done everything I've asked it to do and more. I can, you know, take the family in it. I can give the keys to my wife. Anyone can drive it, and it's super easy just to turn the key, go, and put gas in it and keep going. So, yeah, thank you so much for watching the review of my own car. I absolutely love this car and I want to keep driving it until the wheels fall off. What would I do differently if I was to buy a Touareg? I would probably buy a little bit of a later model, 2016 onward. They just look a little bit smarter in the front, and something with cooled seats, and even better if it had massaging seats. I believe I've heard is an option on some rare models. But the cooling seats is probably the only thing would be really nice if it had. Again, not a deal breaker. I have heated seats, I have great AC, I've got a sunroof when I want it, and yeah, really I have almost zero complaints other than just old car stuff. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoy this kind of thing, please pop it down in the comments. I can review more of my own cars, but I just, you know, having owned this car for nearly over a year now, I just remembered thinking back when I was looking at buying this, there wasn't a whole lot out there about this car in particular. So I hope you've learned a thing or two. If you have a Touareg yourself, please, you know, drop some comments and suggestions down below of what you think you should be doing with your Touareg. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and we hope to see you next time.